welcome guys to Webinar Wednesday. So each week, like I said, I'm going to do like a nutrition and health question. So this is free training for you guys, and it's the topics that you've actually picked for yourself. So the topics that I've actually picked for February are mainly around what people are craving. So right now we have a lot of people talking about carbs and sweets, and I'm going to go a bit into detail on this in a second here. So if you're watching live and you have a question, just please type a comment for me and I'll read it on here and I'll answer it at the end for you guys. All right. So tonight's topic is help, I cannot stop eating carbs and sweets, which is most people, I find. So this one has to be one of the biggest topics that I've been discussing with you guys here, and in the comments people have been asking me lots of different things on the side and what you're struggling with. So many of us are stuck in the mindset of all or nothing, and I'm gonna help you guys with this. So let's get started. There's a few of you guys on here already. All right, so we've just come out of Christmas, right? Where all the foods have been laced with icing sugar, syrups, drizzled in caramel, and basically everything that we can't usually eat. So some of you may be feeling like you need to detox. Others of you want a quick cold turkey. And then there's some of you that are still eating the foods from Christmas just to get it out the house. So if anybody's having issues with this, let me know, because that's something that's pretty big for people. You know, one of three things, you know, detoxing, it's okay. But again, like I said, when you're coming off these things, your body has a little bit of reactions as well, because you're kind of cutting it cold turkey. Overeating it, of course, is going to give you more symptoms as well. Breakouts in your skin, not feeling very good, dizzy, all that kind of good stuff, right? So what I want you to understand is the pathways that sugar and carbs have on in your brain. So to understand cravings and why we go back for more, even though we shouldn't, there's a few things here. So did you know that when sugar and simple carbs, like white bread, for instance, and white pasta, you know, they can actually be addictive as street drugs, unfortunately, because what's happening is it's working on the same pathways in your brain, and it's telling your brain that you want more. So it's actually a really, really strong signal. And what's happening is they use the exact same hormones, dopamine, for food in your brain, and it makes you feel good. So the dopamine in your brain, when you eat a lot of carbs, you eat a lot of sugar, it's giving you this dopamine rush, and it's giving you this like sedated feeling, like, oh, I feel really good all of a sudden, but it doesn't last. And then you have to go back for more, and you actually have to increase the amount each time as well. This is why the cravings are so intense and so strong for you, because it works on the same pathways, like I said, as street drugs too, right? So another factor I find, and this is where I find in my community with moms, people that have a lot of high stress and anxiety and low moods are actually at a greater risk for becoming addicted to sugar and carbs. And this is where we need to find different stress relieving methods, right? Because it can become a huge binge eating problem because you're using it as a substance. Now, think about it. Sugar and carbs, they are inexpensive, they are legal, and they are easy to obtain, and basically you can get it anywhere you go. So they're actually really easy to get a hold of, and they are so abundant. It's one of those things. So a lot of people tell me, you know, I don't have problems with other things, but food seems to be like a big problem for me. And like I said, it's because it's shown to us throughout the day, all the time, social media, not always good food, you know, on adverts, radios, TV. We're constantly being bombarded with messages, and eventually we're like, okay, I really want to eat this today. And, you know, it's a setup, right? It's a setup for you to go and get it. And what happens is have you ever noticed when you actually cut out your sugar or your carbs and you go cold turkey, your mood starts to shift. So do you ever notice when you cut it out, you're like, I'm done with this, like Christmas is over, Thanksgiving is over, like I'm cutting myself off. So what happens is most people, they have a major energy crash, and it's a substance, like I said, and it gets really strong. So strong that a lot of people will actually go out of their way to go and get it. So have you ever realized that you're taking it out the house, but then all you do is you tell yourself, I can't have it, and then you think about it all the time. And you always want what you can't have. So you end up driving to the store or ordering it or whatever you can just to get your hands on it, right? And we know it's not good for us, but it's a quick rush of those dopamines, right? So what I want to say is, I challenge you to truly look at how much of it you're eating in one sitting. Are you having major cravings for sweets and carbs? And willpower alone doesn't get you through this, because white knuckling and intense craving, it just takes one bad day, and you give up, and most people will stress eat all over again. So what I usually say to my clients is the best way to lessen the cravings and getting them out your diet is actually to cut down on the amount you're eating right now. Because if someone's eating a huge amount of carbs or sweets, or has been for a long period of time, and you just cut it out cold turkey, that person is going to have, some people actually shake when they haven't had sugar for a while, and that's when their body's actually starting to depend on it. So I want to make sure that your body isn't going to go into this state of shock, but to gradually bring it down over time, and so the cravings don't become so intense for you. So what I would suggest right now is, if you are eating like high amounts of carbs, high amounts of sugars, most of the time it's based off how we feel and our mood. So it's usually when we are pretty anxious, we're pretty stressed, and then we kind of just mindlessly eat. So I would say take about half out right now and cut down on your simple sugar and replace the other ones with alternatives. So I'm going to give you kind of some suggestions here. So some alternatives is nature's candy, which is fruit. So if you eat the sweeter fruit, there's tropical fruits that are actually quite sweet. So the mangoes, the pineapples, papaya's not that sweet, but there's other fruits out there that are, you can have. If it's in season, usually it tastes a lot sweeter as well. So sometimes when you go into the grocery store, I would smell the fruit, and if it smells good, then it's usually ripened. So eating ripened fruit is a great way to reduce down on your white sugar consumption. Replacing also with sweet vegetables, like peppers are really good. Like I find it's easier to feed kids peppers versus something else, because they have a sweeter taste to them, so it's easier to get them to have them, right? So the other ones I would say is, if you're putting white sugar, or even, please don't tell me you're using Splenda or any of those aspartames, because they're really not good for you. They're chemicals, right? But I would say take those out, the white sugar and the aspartame things, and put in your honey, your raw honey. Sometimes honey as well, just be aware that sometimes they mix it with corn syrup if you're buying like the liquid kind. So I do suggest buying one that actually is pure honey. Agave syrup is another one that you could use. Pure maple syrup is one, and cinnamon, because cinnamon actually helps you regulate your blood sugar as well. And these can be simple little things that you can just replace right now. So like I said, the other half you should be reducing like very slowly in a way of weeks, not like weeks and months. I'm talking like not in a couple of days, because you just kind of set yourself up for a major crash, right? And I don't want that to happen for you, because then what happens is it throws you into this cycle of I can't have it, and then you binge on it, right? And then it just defeats the whole purpose of doing this. So another factor in the sweet addiction is that you actually may be deficit in nutrients and minerals, and your body is asking you for, the nutrients, right? And you may not know, and on a cellular level, it's something that you could be missing. So an example would be, a lot of women typically crave chocolate. Now, usually it's kind of at that time of the month, but it's usually because they need more magnesium. So when they get their magnesium supplement looked at, or they're getting their intolerance testing and they're looking at what's going on in their body on a cellular level, they can understand, oh, I'm actually missing these nutrients, and that's why my body's craving it, because you're not going to get it from the junk food, the chocolate, things like that. If anything, the carbs and the sweets, they actually pull away from your system. So they take other water, they take other nutrients to be able to digest them. So you're actually pulling away from your body and you're not replenishing it, right? So if you're struggling to get this under control, you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that are having this issue. So I wouldn't worry too much about it though. Now, like I said, if you have any questions, I will use that and I'll go into the next one. And if you guys have a suggestion too for another one. But now each Sunday I do send out emails here. So if you guys want to join the email list, that's up to you. I do recipes, I do nutrition tips and educational training. And I'll use I'll put the link in the video here for you as well. So thank you guys for tuning in today for the webinar Wednesday. And next week, the same time, same day, we're going to be talking about, is keto really healthy? Because I get a lot of people asking me about the whole keto thing. So in good health, you guys. I will see you next week. Bye for now.